Our schools are supposed to be centers for formation, centers for holistic training, centers for morality, a center where someone is formed both in mind and heart. And that is why when you graduate in a university, they usually say that you have been found worthy in character first than in learning, which is you have been found worthy in character and in learning to be awarded a BSc or a degree in this and that and that and that. And that is why we send our children to school. We send our children to school because we know it's a good thing, because we want them to learn ABC, because we also want them to understand values and virtues and character and moral that will be better for the society. And that is why when President Paul Biya came into power, his vision at the center was rigor and moralization. With moralization, it embodies the value of respecting one's identity and fight against explicit content and uncensored video. Morality stands for the fact that one must be conscious about their body, must be conscious about carrying out acts that may be unpleasant to the general society. And that is why President Paul Biya brought in rigor and moralization. Moralization was supposed to be impacted and implanted in all of our schools, within the secondary, the basic, the university and the high school. Moralization. And that is why you could see that from those who were being trained in our schools, short dresses were not being accepted, unkempt hair were not being accepted, those who are walking with breast pop out were not being accepted, and still not being accepted in some universities because of moralization. Moralization simply means that we must accept the fact that we come from a family, or we come from a nation that respect the dignity of the human person, the sacredness of the human person, which means that which is supposed to be kept in private must remain in private. And that was and is a center value, or the center policy which President Paul Biya brought in terms of moralization. But with more than 40 years down the road, how far are our schools as far as that President Paul Biya's vision of moralization is concerned? Let us be clear. The vision of moralization is something that President Paul Biya should be applauded for. That moralization keep the society in check and make sure that the society doesn't go above the required value, and keep the sacredness of the human person. The sacredness of the human person is supposed to be at the center of moralization, which in Latin it is called the imago Dei. That image that makes you think and understand that there are things you must not do in public and there are things you must do in private. 40 years down the road, how far are our schools when it comes to moralization? The value of moralization has steadily dropped and is dropping as we go. Now in our secondary schools and some of our universities, it is anything you see you take, which is, if students are poorly dressed, and when you want to talk to them, they will tell you that you don't have a right to talk to me like that. To some extent, most of these are being paraded, supported, and heavily catalyzed by some parents who, instead of reprimanding their children, instead of telling their children that this dress you are wearing is not supposed to be worn, this look you are taking to school is not supposed to be like that, instead they keep clapping for their children. They clap for their children and they tell their children, wow, Makuku, tu es belle, Makuku, tu es jolie, Makuku, tu es a done boy. And all of this cacophony makes the learning environment difficult and increases sexual promiscuity in our schools at the level of bringing in STM, which is heavily active, which is known as sexually transmissible marks. When you have all these, it has made our schools to become more, some of them, more of a center that train promiscuous individuals than train people with holistic character. Go to our secondary schools these days. One will be tempted to ask the question if they are indeed secondary schools. Go to our universities these days. One will be tempted to ask if they are indeed universities or they are glorified secondary schools. Professor Bernard Fon, in his book titled The Genuine Intellectual, he said a university It's not for the mindless mob. It's not for the mob. It's not for people who think they can do whatever they want to do because they say je fais ce que je fais. C'est ma vie, c'est ma choix. It is not for people who think like that. It is not for people who think that they have no principles that govern them. Professor Bernard Furlong, in his book titled The Journey and Intellectual, says a university is not for the mob. It's for the talented tenth, those who live by the sacredness of the human, those who respect the value of university, those who understand that university is a research-based center, a center for high academic standard. That is why he said a university is not for the mindless mob, but for the talented tenth. And he said any university that doesn't respect the principles of university is more of a glorified secondary schools. We have seen videos of our young brothers and sisters in secondary schools, and one is asking, are these porn centers or are these centers for training? This is House of Commons with me, Tah Mai Javis. I want to wish you a very big happy birthday to you, my Omari Changwam, and also to you, my in-law Eukaria Former and Marianne. I want to wish you guys a very big happy birthday this 1st of February 2026. As you celebrate your birthday, may God continue to guide, protect you, bless you, and give you many more years as you celebrate the rest of your days. Be the best of your days. May God guide your steps, protect you, and bless you in all you do, and also protect your family, your mother, brothers, and sisters as you celebrate your birthday today. Also, I want to wish you, Priska, a very big happy birthday this day as you celebrate your birthday, 2nd of February, which is tomorrow. As you celebrate your birthday on the 2nd of February, may God continue to guide, protect you, and give you many blessings. Cameroon Priska, the rest of your days shall be the best of your days. As you celebrate it, God should bless you. And happy new month to all those of you who are able to be strong and healthy, and those who are also in this new month who are passing through difficulties. Happy new month to you. And this is a month for the Aquarius. Happy new month to you, and it's my birthday month, which is coming up on the 11th of February. Happy new month to all those of you. I want to wish all those of you celebrating birthday this February, happy birthday to you, and also happy Sunday to you, Mr. Nyam Robert, and your wife Juan in the United States of America, in Texas, in Fairfield, Texas. Happy Sunday to you, and Agbo Charles in Canada. Happy Sunday to you too. In the studio to discuss on this issue, Cameroon in society check, where we are looking at who is to be blamed for the social deviancy that we see in our secondary schools today, as we have Cameroon in shock as we look at some of the issues. In the studio, we are joined by an expert who is Song Derek, a member of the civil society, and someone who is a pedagogue who understands some of the issues when it comes to formulating policies for institutions that can best protect morality, ensure rigor, and promote values that meet our needs in our respective society. Happy Sunday, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Tah Mai Javis, and happy Sunday to all the viewers of House of Commons, My Media Prime. The topic at hand is a topic that has shocked us, but equally we are called to reflect, and we are called to reflect on several things, because when explicit videos of students who are supposedly supposed to be in the classroom studying, we see videos of sexual expressions, we are not just supposed to be concerned with who is in the picture, but we should also ask questions, what feel around them. These children are growing up in a digital age faster than our schools. They are growing up in a digital age where the homes, the society, the schools did not prepare them for that. So today, while discussing on the topic who is to be blamed, I think we're going to be focusing on identifying those weaknesses, finding ways that we can fix it and make our learning centers better. Remember, in the words of Nelson Mandela, he says that if anyone wants to destroy a nation, you don't need guns, you don't need bullets, you need to attack the education system. And I think that the education system and the morality of our students, of our learners, is deteriorating. And if we don't fix it, then we're going to be building very intelligent dwarf that will collapse the very nation we expect them to build better. Thank you once more, Javis, and a special greetings to the people of Boyo, especially in Jinicum.
Thank you very much. Those of you who are just joining in, you can participate in the course of the program through phone calls. Today we shall receive phone calls as to who is to be blamed for what we are witnessing in our respective institutions, secondary schools, even primary schools. In fact, it is some of those videos you see, some of them are coming from primary schools. And the worst is that these primary schools these days, they are children, not to talk of some of our primary schools that you used to have people of 15 years, 18 years, 17 years. But now with the primary school, you rarely see people of that age, except for those in the northwest and southwest region, because of the conflict which many have now returned back to school. And so you will have the chance to participate on today's edition of our program. And we have had the first message, which is talking about, it says the elite are to be blamed. Girls wear dresses and boys wear shirts and trousers, and that the elite are to be blamed for these. Son Derek, you have been observing in your days, and now how you rate the two first?
First and foremost, Javis, I will tell you that evolution not managed is causing a lot of harm. I remember in our days when we used to go to school, there are things you will not do, including insulting a friend. There were times that just to be reported in the office that you have insulted a friend will lead to lashing, heavy lashing, and you'll be backed up in front of the assembly and beaten. Unfortunately, perhaps the minister, after saying that a lot of teachers had abused the cane, decided to abolish corporal punishment, because in those days of school, corporal punishment brought people to their senses. In those days, when we went to school, we knew that religious study, civics that was taught, giving students their duties, their responsibilities, their obligations, it was a compulsory subject to be done. Religious study that build morals in student was taken very important. For those who went to Catholic schools, there were some books that as a student you must read, you must study them, you must read them, and they were all books that had principles of life. But unfortunately, as time passes by, a lot of these things, they are being buried. I understand that teachers in most institutions had abused the idea of corporal punishment, the cane. But rather than trying to ameliorate, it was abuse, or it was a ban. You know, the cane really worked, and I must confess that the cane did magic to a lot of persons, despite the fact that at one point in time it was abused. You know, the Bible in itself says, spare not the rod and spoil the child. And part of it is that we have spared the rod and the child is being spoiled. That is what is happening. If you check the days in school where teachers were regarded as demigods, teachers embodied the characteristic of a moral upright individual. Teachers took their students or their learners like their own children. In fact, as a matter of fact, teachers were those to be consulted when there was something wrong, because the society believed that they could decipher, they could reason and they could judge without bias.
Your parents will just go and report it to a teacher.
Of course, parents in those days, when you come back home and you do something wrong, your father tells you, tomorrow I'm coming to school to see your teacher. You see students begging, kneeling down to beg their father that Daddy, I will not do this thing again. Don't go and tell my teacher. If you tell my teacher, because teachers were regarded as discipline center. But nonetheless, Javis, on the topic, who is to be blamed? It's a very vast topic that we cannot apportion blame on an individual. As we continue the discussion, I think we're going to discover a lot part by part, because I do so believe that the building of the society, education as a whole, is a partnership, and in a partnership everybody has a role to play, because we live in a society where we have a lot of providing parents but not available parents, because the parents are busy. Of course, we understand that there is pressure.
More providing parents than not available parents.
Yes, we have parents who provide everything the children need. You need to eat, they give you. You need money for fees, they give you. You need this, then they are not available. So being to provide and you are not available, truth be told, your child will be educated, but what will the child get? Will the child get what you want or what you plan? Because there is a role that parents play in children's life. A lot of parents are shifting their responsibilities to teachers. They don't know that these same teachers are parents. These same teachers have responsibilities when they get back home. You cannot shift moral education completely to the schools. It must start with, yes, it's like I said, it's a partnership. You know, in education there are a lot of things that we should come to terms that, like I said, that education is a partnership. It is a partnership between the parents, the school, the government, and the society at large.
So it's like a triple helix.
Yes, a triangle.
Yes,
it's a triangle.
You have the parents, the schools,
yes, the school
and the government.
And the government. Then the society is in the middle, and then you have the child. And statistics have proven that it is easier to learn the negative. It is faster to learn something negative than to learn the positive. What does that mean? It means that among these three actors, we need a perfection everywhere. For instance, a perfect home, an imperfect school will raise an imperfect child. A perfect home and a perfect school and an imperfect government system will raise an imperfect child. So we need a perfection in this triangle, where the home plays the responsibility, the parents play their responsibility, the school play the responsibility, and the government, in terms of policies and system, plays its responsibility. Because we are educating leaders of tomorrow, that if we do not educate them with moral upright and ethics, then we will just hand over the society for them to bring it down, and it's going to be dangerous. So the moral decadence in our school environment is becoming alarming. It's a shock, and I think we need to go back to the drawing board and start asking questions. What went wrong and how do we fix it?
Now, what went wrong and how do we fix it is what is a question, $1 million question that you're asking. And those of you watching us at home, you can participate in the course of the program. Those of you watching us on Facebook, we want to acknowledge you. We want to acknowledge all those of you watching us on Facebook. Like we have seen those who have been active so far on the social media platform. We want to wish you a very happy big Sunday to you. And if you are just watching us on Facebook, leave a comment and also let us acknowledge you if you're watching us at home. If you're watching us at home, you can participate in the course of the program. That's the number you can call today. You can call so that let's discuss this issue. We've had a lot of videos, people smoking on campus, group smoking on campus, people having indulging in sexual activities on campus in the secondary schools, and sometimes you get to ask the questions, where did we get it wrong, where did we get it right? And this has been a trend. It's almost a trend. People proposing to marry their wife in school, students proposing to each other and kissing each other, doing the terrible things on campus, celebrating birthday in an explicit manner. Let me take on some of the messages before coming back to you, Mr. Derek, and some of those who have sent us messages. This one says the schools are to be blamed because some of these schools, based on the fact that they want students, they don't enforce discipline. They are afraid that if they enforce discipline, parents may not want to send their children to their respective schools, and that is why you see how they will allow this to decay. And this is coming from Esther in Douala. This other one says, I think that the blame goes to the parents. Sometimes the parents are the one encouraging this. They will buy their children tight-fitting uniforms, and the activities some of these parents also play at home is a factor for the children. You will see how they will be kissing in front of their children, doing their romance in front of their children. We are not saying that married people should not exhibit that, but that should be done far away from the children, because remember, children learn faster on the things they see, and when they see like that, they tend to want to replicate it. Whatever mom does is correct, whatever dad does is correct, and that is why they will be doing it. And when you see they go to school, they are kissing and they are doing those things are the things they learned at home. This other one says the blame goes to the government because the government has failed to institute policies that will guarantee discipline. I remember there was a time when the Minister of Secondary Education punished a teacher for trying to enforce discipline in schools. How do you punish teachers who try to enforce discipline and yet bet for the question why there are indecency in our institution? Mr. Javis, the only solution to this problem is that the government needs to hand over corporal punishment back to the hands of teachers and empower them so that they can continue to change the society. This one, which is coming from Jacob from Bamenda, he says, dear Mr. Tah, while we acknowledge the punishment shapes students, we must remember that corporal punishment is not the only form of punishment, and that some students beaten to death before the government decided to ban it. However, the failure to reinforce morals and discipline in some of our schools has contributed significantly to what we see in our schools today. Parents have also failed in their duties. Thank you, Nkwan Jacob, writing from Bamenda. You can also do well to call us if you are watching us and you want to participate in the course of the program. Now let us move over to you. Let's now start on the triple helix. What role have the parents failed?
Well,
you said we have the parents, we have the schools, and we have also the government, and at the center,
yes,
you have the.
I have said. I think let me generalize is that in terms of the blame game, we should. No one individual carries the blame completely. We have weak systems. We have silent homes. We have unprepared schools, and perhaps sometimes unregulated digital access. Let's go to the parents. Javis, I started by telling you that we have more of providing parents than available parents. Parents who believe that to pay school fees is enough, the school should do the rest. Parents who believe that teachers are paid to do a nanny job and to do the pedagogic job.
Yeah.
A school environment is a pedagogic environment, and morals come to fix that environment. Parents cannot shift responsibility. The child learns good morning from the house. It is not in school that children learn how to say good morning. It is in the house. And parents should know that if you fail to teach your children what they need to know, they will learn it by themselves, and they will learn it the wrong way and apply it raw. For instance, in most homes, it is a taboo to discuss about sex, perhaps sex education. to children. When a child raises it, it becomes a taboo for a parent. Whereas parents should instead be open so that the children discuss that, and then they tell them what is right and what is wrong,
and when to engage,
and when to engage and when not to engage. Very important. So if parents shy away from that, they learn from peers, they learn from friends, they learn from the media. And that is where the second problem comes: the social media. This, with parents, where is a failure? In my opinion, Javis, the phones we have come to stay, and there is no way we are going to take them away from the society. So if you cannot, if you give a phone to a child, you should be able to discipline the child on how to use the phone. And there are monitoring apps. Parents who give their children phones, before you give your children a phone, you can install
those
monitoring apps, and you know, in your room, anytime you come, you have access to that. You know how long Junior has been spending on YouTube, what has Junior been watching, how long Junior has been on Facebook, who Junior has been talking to, what kind. It is important to censor what they watch, and don't only censor them, explain to them why it is like that. Because if you do not censor them, they will get to watch anything and apply. You know, during when we were growing up and we used to watch wrestling, and most often there is this famous phrase, do not try it at home.
Yeah, there is a phrase that always say that
yes,
WWE superstars are professionally trained performers. Yes. What they do at home, yes, what they do in the ring takes years of practice perfect and to do it safely.
Exactly.
Please don't try this at home.
Don't try this at home. And that statement will reoccur. Don't try this at home, because they know that.
Or anywhere.
Yes. Children, if you put two kids watching wrestling now, I mean kids of 3 years watching wrestling, if they are boys, they watch it repeatedly for days. You see them, they'll start wrestling. You see one will climb on the chair and carry the other one to the ground, because what the kids see is very important. So that parental censorship is very important. It is not the teacher who is supposed to come home to do that censorship. It's not the teacher who is supposed to come to tell parents that this is what you're supposed to do. In fact, we think that teachers are placed in a very tense situation. Why do I say tense situation? You're a lecturer. You lecture in some universities across. You have 50 learners under your watch. These 50 learners are from 50 homes
and
with
50 different
mentality, 50 cultures, and you have to learn to harmonize them. It is quite difficult to bring them to the same playing board. Imagine you have a very hyperactive junior and another person who is very insultive, and another one who is very well cultured, moral. And if the parents play their role, it comes to school, the teachers do their role, it goes to the side of the government brings strict policies that can be able to maintain a society that we are wishing to get, then we are going to have a better society. I think the tripartite, the triangle, has to work together, because if the government has weak systems,
we come back to the government side.
So at the level of the parents, I think the child we are training is our child. It's your child, and we need to train those children to the best of our abilities, to the best of the cultures we want them to reflect. And it becomes incumbent too, Javis. I used to tell most parents that there are expressions, as a parent, there are expressions you know that your child likes using. If a child comes back home and uses an expression that you know that this child is not used to this expression, it is incumbent on you, the parent, to pick up your phone, call the school, to ask questions. Please, my child is using these types of phrases, and the child was not used to those phrases. Please, you can find out who the child is sitting with, how the child was, the other person was brought up, and the kind of expressions they use. If it is not okay, you bring it to the notice of the teacher to be able to streamline and fix it. If not, The children will learn, come, and then you don't discipline them that this one is not okay. Then they will feel it is okay. We need to follow up your child step by step. If not, we are going to have them educated, but educated as educated dwarfs.
Okay, we'll take on these messages. This one says you can also call us to participate on the program. This one says good day, Mr. Javis. The guest speaker has just nailed it. The society has more providing parents than available parents, and everything is centered around this problem. It is not wrong to buy a child phone, but do you have time to censor what they do with the phones? A lot of parents are shifting their responsibilities to the house helps and teachers. That is why most children behave differently from their parents, because they are trained by strangers. I am Louis, writing from Mabuya. This other right is this blame goes back to the parent. I can remember a parent who came to school and beat up a teacher because of punishing a student. What is the parents telling students in front of their teachers? Oh, that case was also one of those that raised a lot of concerns. This one says, Mr. Javis, the blame goes to the parents. Parents are the cause of this. They have time to discuss on other issues, but they don't have time to monitor their children, especially the ones in secondary schools. You need to see the kind of videos these students are doing on TikTok. Mr. Javis, if you look at TikTok, on the way students are dancing explicit videos, you need not to be told that their parents are not aware of this. So we must regulate the social media, as other nations are embracing regulating social media. If you are not above 18 and you will not be allowed to have phones. In Australia they are trying to do that, and Japan is trying to do that, and I think it's high time the government of Cameroon also try to do that. And this is also coming from another parent. This one reads, it says, Dear Javis, I decided to map out schools where most of these malbehaviors are reported and match it to the general behaviors in the larger communities where the schools are found. I discovered that these things are common where the communities are also loose. So what happens in these schools is spilled over from the communities. Therefore, before we blame students, we have to first blame the families and the communities. Now, Mr. Derek, there are some arguments here based on this on the fact that sometimes the society also is to be blamed. But why blaming the society? For example, the issue about bars. You see, bars are everywhere. Up licenses are everywhere. There are schools where schools share bars with secondary schools. They share up licenses. They are bordered with up license. You leave one secondary school to another, you have bar and they are playing music, and sometimes some of these children leave those schools and go directly opposite to the bar and start drinking. You know, for example, where in Bonaberi, there's one school, I don't want to call the name, at Ancien Route, where the university is located. Opposite that school, you have a bar. Directly opposite the school, you have a bar. How do we allow bars to come and open? It's not like the bar had existed before the school. The school had existed before the bar.
No, I think anyway, anyhow you take it, one exists before the other. We let us not blame the bars and allow the school. Let us go back to policy table. For instance, in the days we knew about schools were at distance. When a school was to be located, or a government asks a certain community to give a location for school, most often that community gives an outskirt where there is enough space and the place is silent and conducive for learning. Why am I talking about policies, Javis? I'm saying this because there are places that schools located that they met bars before they located. And before a school is to be constructed, there should be checks. And if the environment is not conducive for kids and learning, then that school should not be located there. And equally, if there were checks and balances and policies and systems that work, You will not have a school that has been existing for 10 years and it's very okay, and then a bar comes there and is located comfortably and operating without checks and balancing. So it is a matter of policies, because we have many schools that met bars and got established, and we have many bars that met schools and got established. The problem is a policy problem. The problem is the mechanism that checks those things, because trust me, a school environment need to be serene, it need to be composed, it need to be reserved for perfect reflection. That students should be in class. If it is a quiet moment, the child sits to reflect, to study. If it is a moment of play, the child should have that play moment to express, to feel it, to exhibit it. But our schools are located where you are in class and you are getting
a good music
going bang bang. You're getting it to your ears, you are learning. A teacher is telling you that x plus 1 is equal to 5. What is the value of x? You're only getting but sounds. It's a matter of policies. I think there should be checks, and these rules, that's because there's a system that is corrupt, where instead of following the principles, we always breach the gap and use the shortcuts. It lands us to where we are. But unfortunately for us, we are building the dangerous society for our children and for their own children too.
Thank you very much. Maybe we've missed a call from one of our viewers. Let us get to hear from what he has to say as far as the topic is concerned, because you can call us if you want to participate in the course of this program. You can call us, let us know what you think. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Tah Mai Javis.
Yes, your contribution, your name and where you are calling us from.
I'm calling from Yaoundé. I'm Daddy Lombo.
Yes, right on with your contribution.
Okay, I just want to say that this matter like this is so complex and it concerns all of us.
Yes.
Because when I remember in the old days, particularly in the English-speaking Cameroonian,
yes,
there is what we call discipline.
Yes. Yes, right on.
So it boils down to the fact to say that when we were going to school in our days, we were cultured in terms of discipline.
Yes.
To respect and obey.
Yes.
But the difference now is that we are all what we are talking, even the contribution that people are making, is focusing more on our English side, the English Cameroonian side. We forget about the French culture. The French culture is not the same like our own. And I just want to say that all what is happening is coming back from the French section, the French part of education system and so on. Because there are situations where every child is a father's child.
Yes.
But there are situations where even in the quarter that you are staying, you are correcting children who are school-going children. It becomes a problem even to their own parents, that you don't have the right to talk to their children. So tell me now, that child will go to school, he is going to school, which mentality he will take along to present to the teachers who are there waiting for him to be morally upright?
Yes.
Those are some of the things that we are saying, because all what we are saying, the picture is focusing only on the English Cameroonian. How we were brought up, but what of these people this way, this French speaking Cameroonian? Because now we are building by the nation. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that parents should not cease from their rights, from their responsibility. And if a message can be made for these people to know, these Francophone people to know that their children are when you only have your child when you is when you are pregnant with the baby, when that child is out of your stomach, yes, it's a Cameroonian.
Okay.
Yes. So we should be morally upright, even if us the parent, to face these challenges and to transplant them to the children.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, there are some people who have been trying to call us. You can call us now because this one is coming from and it's long. Casimiro says that Cameroon is currently shaken by scandal. Let me take this message. Welcome to the message. Hello. Hello. Good morning. Where are you calling us from? It's good afternoon. Yes, right on your contribution, your name and your volume is a bit low. Hello? Yes, right on.
Yes. What I have to say is that we are talking about parents and teachers like this. It is a collective completely skills the system now is the government itself.
Yes.
So, imagine that second from the from one in the primary school when these two with a game, the question is this what is the game for? They have already let the students out to know that they are not supposed to be taught, you are not supposed to ask the child to kneel down, you are not supposed to tell the child to go and wash the toilet. At the end, they have given all the rights to the students and they have given them the priority someone so that even if they have been having what the government has to do them. Because the parent will say, it's not saying when we're going, as the writer scholar just said, when we're going, while we were sent from the house to school, we know that at least the teachers have at least 50% and then the parents have to go to the 50%.
Yeah.
But now, parents are dealing with more than the teacher. What are you expecting? The teacher, everybody is fine for his example. You want to talk to a guy, the guy really tells you that the government says they should not stay away from policy, and the government is a serious policy in place, so that at least the whole system to have they don't ask the guy about what they're doing, to spend out that you give them.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, he says that sometimes you want to talk to the students, it's impossible because they will tell you that the government says they should not to talk to them anyhow. Casimiro says that Cameroon is currently shaken by a scandal involving students from the Adventist College of Odaza in Yaoundé. Explicit videos feature students having circulating on social media, sparking outrage among parents, teachers, and the public. The incident began on January 30, 2025, when compromising videos started circulating online. The school administrators conducted an internal investigation and identified 11 students involved in the scandal. The college management decided to permanently expel these 11 students with no possibility of reinstatement. However, this decision has sparked mixed reaction, including from Professor Vivian Ondua Biwa, who disagreed with the students' expulsion and advocating for support rather than punishment. The scandal raises questions about schools' accountability, prevention of risky behaviors, and sex education for young people. Who will you like to know more about the reaction? Okay, thank you very much. Casimiro, thank you very much. Eno writing is good morning, Javis and your guest. I think the society has evolved so to the merit and demerit in science, politics, education, social life, etc. Because if we had social media in our time, you will still see corrupt things surfaces. Today's social media has helped any little thing people share without respecting rules. So laws makers have to come into regulating unwanted content. Such content can be handled by disciplinary personnel in schools or where needed or where need be. If those days are far to better, why some teachers are corrupt, why some people still have bad conduct on government issues. Hello? On government issues, and is enough when further is noting that he says immoralities even with the church elect management and misappropriation in financing draining our beloved nation. Every sin has ripple effect. What we do at home and family will affect us outside. Let us not blame the minister for anything. It is our home, it is our family, it is our nation, it is our alcoholism and poverty. The more people are economically empowered, the less evil drops. Thank you very much, Eno, writing there. You wanted to react before we continue?
Yeah, I'm saying viewer came in there with the issue of parents and TikToking. That's another thing too that I think parents should take very important, because sometimes you see the way things trend. A child will be twerking, and that's what is going to trend on the social media. Or you see a parent, because if you go to TikTok, things that we used to take a request to see, you want to see everything that you see on TikTok. And most often these children take these phones and they're going through them uncensored. And parents who are TikTokers, you see the kind of things they do. And unfortunately, the coming of influencers, what they call social media influencer, is beginning to shift a lot of things, where the power of education is now replaced with the power of money. Somebody can go on TikTok and insult people, and then TikTok pays the person, and the person has money. You who is going to school, you don't have money. And you start seeing the
dancing naked.
Yes, dancing naked, and TikTok pays the person. So you start seeing those kind of things that are happening, and parents get to do them in front of the children. And by the time you are acting such in front of the children, this is not only about parents, even with teachers. Most often we want teachers to understand that, or parents and teachers and the government to understand that there is a teacher in them that is not seen. There's that invincible teacher. There is that thing that you can tell a child that 1 + 1 is equal to 2. You take 1, you join together, you count, it gives you 2. But there is that thing you do in silence that you are not telling that child, but that child is learning. That invincible teacher, that teacher that does not talk, yet the teacher is teaching. We must try to fix all those things. For those who are writing and blaming perhaps the teachers, I started by saying that, rather the parents, we cannot put this blame on a particular person, because a caller said when a child is born, that child becomes
a community
child. And that is where we should focus. We should not focus on the fact that the parent did this. Yes, it is a society. That child has become the society's child, meaning that a parent has a role to play, the school, and the school has a role to play in the form of what? In the form of its administrators, its teachers, and its owners. They have a role to play. And the government has a role to play in terms of what? Its policies, its follow-up, and the systems they put in place to make it work. While we are working to build the children, because most often, especially children at the level of kindergarten, children at the level of the nursery, they say it is garbage in, garbage out. They are like blank sheets of paper. Whatever you print in, yes, whatever you print, you type in, that is what they print out. So we should take responsibilities step by step, because if we shift away from our responsibility, it's going to affect. We have taken parents, and notice that true parents have outsourced their responsibilities to nannies. Parents have outsourced their responsibilities.
Yeah, because somebody says it's because of this issue of nannyism.
Yes,
where people are being trained, students are being trained by other persons.
Yes, parents. For instance, a parent. It's usually said, I have a neighbor that I respect so much that each time she has a neighbor, a nanny in the house, if she comes back and the house is not clean, she beats up the daughter. I said, well, why do you beat when this person? She told me one day that I will never take somebody's child and come and train a wife and then I train a knife for my own child. My child should know that it is her house. If it is dirty, she has to sweep it, even if the person who is to take care did not do so. And I think that is a whole lot of responsibility. The fact that you think that you have a nanny and every other thing will be done, you'll be training a wife for somebody and a knife for another person, which is your own child. And you'll be training an irresponsible child, which is your own child, and then taking another person's own child and training a responsible child. It's a collective this thing. And I think we should go to the school. It is good that we go to the school to find out where the school is failing. And let's see, Javis, we will all agree that in those days, when somebody was called a teacher, that person was a teacher. A teacher by a call is like called to be a prophet. That person was a teacher and is respected. And the occupation of that teacher was a teacher. Today, a majority of our teachers are business people. Meaning there's a drift from what they have to do. The time they used to spend with the students has reduced. And when you create a free time, I believe that I'm one of the people who believe that the devil tempts everybody, but idle people tempt the devil. Yes, the devil tempts everybody, but when you are idle, you are the one tempting the devil. You are the one inviting. That is why they said an idle mind is a devil's workshop. So we should look into that and understand that when we're going to school, you have 8 periods. During the 8th period, there's a free period, and that free period was always a library hour. During that time, despite the fact that we are told that it's a free period, there is a teacher in class to make sure that there is no noise, to make sure that you are doing something, or even if you are sleeping, you should not disturb another person, or topics that are a taboo for the institution should not be discussed. Sad enough, these videos we see circulating are circulating in the classroom.
Yes, in the classroom.
So where
in active hours?
In active hours of the classroom, where was the teacher between that time? Because it's not something that happened for 1 minute, 2 minutes that the teacher went to east.
Yeah, it's not, because the videos were recorded for a long time.
For a long time. A child gets to smoke like Bob Marley in the class, and then pause, then the proposal, the marriage, the cake cutting, the kissing and everything. Where was the
and someone, you see, they have sex in class.
So that's another video we saw, that students were standing in angles of the class. It was more of sex competition. Where were the teachers on duty at that time? So let's us shift that blame and say that and that's the first thing. So teachers, majority of teachers now, or some of the teachers, are no longer passionate teachers or vocational teachers.
They're more of like disguised unemployment.
Yes, disguised unemployment, which is true. Secondly, our schools now are more focused on examination ranking. After exam, our school was ranked as the first. We are the best pedagogically, but ethically, morally, you are not. So we are focused on building A grades of devils, like fine A grade minds that are devilish, and we are forgetting the morality. That is another part where the school is failing. Then guidance and counseling is very weak in our schools. I remember when I was growing up, schooling, sad enough, until I came to Kaskumba. That's where I met guardian counselors. We were just hearing the name. And what is the role of the guardian counselor? Sometimes you have a guardian counselor in a school who does not have an office. Guardian counseling means that child needs a quiet time to sit talk. And most often when you are doing guardian and counseling, you need a lot of privacy.
But now another issue is how the students even manage to get their phones.
Good. We're going to that, and it will come under policies. It will come under policies, because in as much as you are seeing these phones circulating, you go to some schools, you may never see phones because of the policies that are put in place. And the policies that govern schools should be universal and should only be adapted in cultural basis, on cultural basis rather. So let's shift to that. And then teachers in most schools, they get overworked, underpaid, some are not even trained, and it is quite difficult for them. Like a teacher is overworked. Monday you have to work for 8 hours to Friday, and you are paid 40,000 francs.
And
because of that,
is not even consistent.
Sometimes it's not consistent. Sometimes you have to
pay from September.
You have to write a complaint and deposit and put a stamp there and pay again for your salaries to be paid. I think when teachers are overloaded and underpaid, the teachers voluntarily create gaps. Like when I say voluntarily create gap, in that, okay, I'm teaching, you are paying me 40,000. I realize I can teach very well and these children will understand. I have 30 kids in my class, fine, I'm going to teach and make sure that 10 don't understand. You create a gap so that the parents will come and tell you that I need a home teacher. In the process of you getting a home teacher, a parent may pay you 20,000, you have like 5 of them, and you have 100,000 above what you are paid in school for that. So education should be something that we should not joke with. So this one is about the owners of institutions, especially at the level of the private institutions.
Let me take on some messages. We're coming back to you. This one read, it says, good afternoon, Javis, and your panelist. What a nice topic. A lot of things need to be corrected in school milieu. The fact that students shouldn't be beaten in schools has caused more harm than good. Javis, do you realize that most of those schools are government schools? There is a big reason. It shows how government is it shows how our government is a failure. This is Sumere Kevin writing from Kongsamba. He added that you guys shouldn't blame teachers. Also, some of those activities are conducted during the break and after school. Students enter the school without proper checks before they enter into the school.
Javis, please let me come in there.
Yes.
If you say that it is conducted during break and or after school, there's always teachers in most schools on duty till kids go home.
They move around the DMs. This government school have a lot of DMs. Each block.
And I said that, please. From the time we started talking, nobody has hit a hammer directly on a particular person. We are sharing responsibilities. To say that if we want Douala to be clean, let everybody sweep his compound. That's what we are saying. That parents should play their role with their utmost best. Teachers should play their role doing their best. Teachers and owners of institutions should do their best, work as though they are dedicated to do the job, while the government should come with policies that work. We have not at any time said that this is the person who has a responsibility.
The sole responsibility.
It cannot be like that. And the children at one point in time,
sorry, let's take on an advert.
They have independent minds.
I am Express Exchange, leader in money transfers within Cameroon for more than 15 years via my international partners MoneyGram, Western Union, Ria Transfer, World Remits, and others. You can send and receive money all over the world. I assist you in all your mobile money transactions and buying of communication credit. You are always welcome to my 300 branches for payment of your ENEO, electricity bills, and your university tuition fees, the payment of school fees and competitive examination fees for high schools and college via the Campus Money platform. Because your satisfaction is my priority, I assure you an ever-increasing and improved quality service, payments, availability of cash for your transactions. Express Exchange, the #1 in quality service in Cameroon.
You're welcome back, and if you are just joining us or watching House of Commons, this message really says, good afternoon, Mr. Javis and your panelists. In my own point of view, the blame is shared. Students are responsible for their own misconduct shown in some videos. Parents and school authorities are blamed for poor supervision, weak discipline, and the government is faulted for inadequate monitoring, enforcement of school rules, and support for moral educational standard in schools. Mr. Royce Rosil from Maflekume Tiko, Maflekume, a health institution in Tiko. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrongly. This was a good afternoon, sir. I am called Bless from Kumba. Sir, drinking alcohol in school is not a good idea. It is against the rules and can affect studies. It isn't safe, especially for students. Schools are for learning and not partying. Okay, it's coming from an anonymous sender. This other one, right? It says okay, Houston, Texas. Thank you very much. Writing from Houston, Texas. This okay, now before going to okay, before going to the other side, I want us to continue with schools. We are at the level of schools. Now, there are some schools who are probably, if you do a survey on some of the videos, 70% of the explicit videos we have watched come from government institutions, and the others come from private institutions for videos. But now, also in terms of culture, you realize that even the lay private institutions are failing. Many say it's because they are for the private institution, they are looking at money. That's why they don't want to enforce discipline. They are afraid that if they enforce discipline, they will not have the money.
Javis, that's true. I think there, let me come to something. There, I think we have a challenge with our education, because in terms of standards of education, the government should have set the standards for education. For instance, you know, if you go to government school, most often the only reasons for its population is that it is a way cheaper. But if the government that has the cash, it has the money, has the resources, could build secure, sophisticated, well-structured institution and have a personnel that work with its ability, effectiveness, and efficiency, we are going to reduce that. But let me say it, these things don't only happen in the government school, although they are rampant. They happen everywhere. When children from private school close and children from government school close, is there no a junction where they meet? Is there not a place where they discuss?
We have used the activities.
So this thing is that as long as one institution is rotten, these children are not living in an island
or space.
So if whether it is a private school or a government school that gives the wrong information, that information is going to circulate in the society. So the bottom line should not be the fact that government schools are the ones that are porous, or maybe it's more of private school. Our schools have a problem, and we need to handle that problem from the roots. When we live in a system where we train teachers to finish syllables rather than build minds, rather than groom fine minds, that is what we get. When teachers are in class, even the administrators, they pursue the teachers more of syllables, because at the end of it, there's going to be classification that this school was first, this one was last, and we forget to build the minds of the students, of the learners. And once we don't build the minds of the learners on what matters, the learners will learn by themselves, and it is delicate.
And they will learn the wrong way.
Yes, and they will learn the wrong way. It is delicate. For instance, computers are in school now. You cannot take away them. There are computer labs with internet. When the children are there, they will normally be forced to go to internet. They want to go to Google. They want to go to YouTube. They want to watch those things. It becomes incumbent on the school to have a security systems that checks logins and limits sites inaccessible for children based on their ages, or downloading of materials that are not good for them, that one becomes incumbent on government policies and the school policies. Because the way we are failing the future. And if we fail the future with the status quo, the way the country is, we're going to cry, and we're going to cry bitterly, Mr. Javis. Because, like I said, back in school, some teachers too, the challenge is that teachers, corporal punishment is not the only thing to correct children. There are other ways. In most often we talk of correction, because a teacher who beats a child on the hand because the child is not writing and the hand is paining and the child cannot use it to write, did you really help the child in any way? Because if a child is not writing, you come again with a cane, you beat the hand of the child, and the child cannot even hold the pen again. You did not help. So we as teachers should be experts. They should know. There are children in class, Jarvis, this one we cannot deny about it, that there are some students in class, you shout at them, they will not do anything. But if you pamper them, they will do something. There are children in class that if it is not a cane, they will not do anything.
Yes, of course.
So you as the experts in your institution, you must understand that children have different mindset, and as an expert you must decipher, you must decode to know that, okay, this one is a pampering child, this one is, and then learn to do your corrections to solve a problem, not corrections that punishes children. Because at the end of it, we want them to get to the level we want, the society expect them. Not a situation where you punish a child and end up leaving a scar, or slapping a child to 5 fingers on the jaw because the child is failing to copy notes.
Now let's look at the issue about these phones. How did we get here that these phones entered the school? I remember in my days in the Semoliko, where each block in the Semoliko has a discipline master, in fact 2 discipline masters. Each block by block had discipline masters. Now there will come a time when the entire school administrators would decide to search phones unannounced search, and they will do that 3 times a day. There are times they will do that 3 times a day. They just come, they block the door, nobody goes out. You move one student, go out per student, you move through the door. As you are moving away from the door, you leave your things. They block, they search you, you move away. They block the search, you move away. When all of you have moved away, they now start moving decks by decks. They leave the decks up, they search the bag, they leave the decks up, they turn it upside down and make sure that all phones are seized. How did we get to this position where phones are actively in our schools?
Yes, where even when a teacher is doing anything,
they are filming. You are teaching in class. If for university, I can understand.
Yes, I think, Jarvis, that one becomes delicate. There is no way, I've said, there is no way we will live without the phone. What we can do is mitigation and security. How to mitigate it and how to make the usage secure. In some workplaces, you don't go in with your phone.
Yes, you drop it at the collection center.
In some workplaces, when you come to the collection center, you tell the person, if this number calls,
yes,
or you have like 3 or 5 numbers that if they are calling, they must tell you to come and pick the call. So that is trying to control, because a lot of things that have been given to us for use are abused. But sad enough, parents and teachers cannot sometimes control how they use this phone, because first, your child learns how to use the phone and you're not even aware. Secondly, you do not buy a child a phone, the child has a phone. How did the child get the phone? So if we do not collectively play that role, that if the child comes of age and you feel like this child needs a phone, just start teaching the child that, okay, this is a phone. This phone like this is how you use it for productive reasons. Not a situation where the child gets a phone outside and he got the phone out of excitement of seeing what the colleagues are doing with it, which is the wrong thing. And then before you discover, the child is already used to the wrong thing. So phones have come to stay. Technology has come to stay. What is the challenge is that how do we live side by side the technology without causing that much harm? What is because Cameroon has a cyber security this thing.
That is about code.
Cyber law, because even the videos, because we live in a society where we follow trends. The videos we share, there are laws against that. Because it is not the child that we are sharing equally on social media. You'll be sharing, all of us will share that this person was caught doing that. There's a law against that. Because tomorrow, that picture will come hunting. That video will come hunting. There are some of them that are just done because of peer pressure. There are some of them that they were video like that. They were not even aware that the video was sent out. And then you end up seeing somebody's video being shared because you shared it to one friend who shared it to this. And in a social media crowd chasing generation, people will definitely use it to chase the crowd. So we have a collective role to play. How did phones get into school? It's a question that we should ask. What is a system? What is the law of the nation against phones in school? What is the law? What should be put in place so that we should, whether we have the phones in school, but there should be a defined usage. And like one of our listeners and followers rightly put, even in developed countries, they are still trying to mitigate.
Yeah, in Australia, it's kind of a law that once you are if you are less than 18, you will not have access to phone.
Yes, and in some countries, this one is even practical. In some countries, YouTube, you cannot play sexually explicit videos.
Yes, they have blocked.
All of them are selected and blocked. It's a system.
China itself does not even have TikTok.
They don't. No. China has TikTok, but its TikTok is directed to a different function. The TikTok they gave to us was to use. They are creating, and that's where Africans generally have been reduced. We have been reduced to consumers.
Good day, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Your name and where are you calling us from?
I am Mrs. Obianat. I'm calling from Yaoundé.
Right on with your contribution.
Yes, sir. As concerns the children's attitude in school, is something that we need to share the responsibility.
Yes, sir.
Parents need to play a very big role on that, because this phone comes from home. Most of these materials come from home. So, and parents are supposed to check their children because they have the responsibility. Now, teachers at their own part, you might be having more than 50 children in class. To control that attitude, their attitude is not easy. And now, some children might come with hidden material, and you will not see it. So, and the government also have a very big role to play. The right of the child, every day at school, the right of the child. The children already knows their rights more than anybody. So, for that reason now, it is difficult for these children to respect. Some of these children they cannot respect. Some of these children they just know but they are right. So the government should also go on the issue of the right of the child and take some of their rights and know that when they are in the school, they are not supposed to behave like that. And when they are at home, the parents should also supervise them and educate them. Because the education does not end at the level of school, but the education starts from home. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for your reaction. It's the same thing that Sunday had postulated here from the beginning, that a child learns good morning at home and not in school. Because if the child doesn't learn good morning at home, when the child reaches school, the child will not be able to show good morning. This one says, good day, Javis. I appreciate Mr. Songberg objectivity. Sir, the policy of government to follow up mostly the covered of school syllabus, forgetting to see the development of their minds and morals. I prefer the reserved 5 minutes per period for teachers to speak the mind and conscience, to speak to the minds and conscience of the students. Andor Takom writing in Menka, and I'm sure this should be in the northwest region.
Let me come in to react there. You know, moral education, like we started and said, was something that was compulsory in our education when we were going to school. But see what the government has done. You graduate with O levels, you have 3 papers or 4 papers with religious study, and they tell you you are applying for a concours. they tell you that maybe 4 papers without religious study. It means that religious study does not have use. It means that it has no importance. Yes, that is what they are telling us.
There are 2 papers excluding religion.
Excluding religion.
Then why you?
So it means if after advanced level you have 2 papers and there's religion in the 2 papers, when you are writing a concours, you are not competent.
Yeah, no, there are students who cannot have admission in university because they have just 2 papers including religion.
So where are we? Are we saying that? Are we telling the student that this thing we are training you with, it is not important? So because when we want to recruit you to the government, we will not even need it, because we are going to be recruiting devils. We are going to be recruiting uncultured people. We are going to recruiting people without morals. If you said that 4 papers without or excluding religion, what are you saying? That what you were studying was not important? That what they were telling you, that to live a moral, upright life, you have to do like this: kindness, love, responsibility, taking care of properties. It was not important. That is what the government is telling us. I think we must put morality at the center of it. It brings a lot of responsibility. When children are taught to be responsible, when children are taught to be upright, the society becomes culture. If children are taught honesty, transparency, accountability, we know that we are preparing a better society. So that a child knows that if it is not your pen, don't take it. If it is not your book, don't take it. If you go back home, you check your bag and you realize that it's a book that was not bought by your parents, kindly bring it back to school. That is where it starts. It starts from the micro level to the macro level. We cannot expect the macro level to work when the micro level is not working. So it becomes incumbent on all of us to bear responsibility, and on those who are responsible, that after teaching me something, I need that thing to go to the next step. You exclude it, that it is not important for me to go to the next step. What are you saying? That all the ideas, all the knowledge, all the information that was dished out based on that subject was not important. So it is useless for me to practice honesty, love, accountability, and
yeah, because it's kind of funny that you are teaching religious studies. It is a paper which is being registered. Somebody sit for the paper, passes the paper, and you come and say that that paper is not relevant.
Of course,
because that person, I don't understand.
So that is where I think we should start. I think maybe Javis we're running out of time.
Maybe that will be the next topic for Sunday.
We have not even gone to the government responsibility.
Yeah, we are really out of time. We have not even gone to where the government is failing. Yes. Hello, Gusagolov.
Yeah, hello.
Yes. You want to participate in the program?
Yeah, exactly. I've been watching, so I just thought.
Yes, right on.
Say so.
Right on before we close.
Yeah. So good afternoon to all of you, my dear brothers, and I'm calling from Estonia.
Yes, good afternoon.
So the topic is very interesting topic. It's very interesting and vital. So what I just want to say is that I have listened to what all of you have been saying, but from my own experience from this end, my brothers, I would like to tell you guys that the problem starts from the top, the government. You know, if you have a government that really cares and works for its people, things will change. The people can only do as much. As Javi said, in Australia, the government changed a law there, so you can see that it comes from the government. If you have a society where you have like a teacher responsible for tens and tens of students alone, the schools, they lack staffs, and then you have the parents at home who think of only what is the next meal they are going to put on the table. How are they going to provide the next meal for their children? Not even the books, but the meal to eat. You look at the schools, what the schools have, how much the parents are being paid, how much the teachers are being paid. My dear brothers, it is this problem is not about only morality, it is about materialism also. Because in Europe, I live in Europe, Europe is not they don't have an angelic society. It's because the government is able to take responsibility and treat its people like themselves. So if you have a government that can treat its people like themselves,
things will change. 100%.
Okay.
You can teach a kid to go to school, not to steal, not to do that. But believe me, when you are not there, there is a possibility that he can do that.
Okay.
And if this child has a full stomach, and the parents, they are like psychologically quiet, you see the society will change, my brothers. So my own point is this, yeah, the parents can have some responsibility to take, but all in all, the government is the one that has to take things in charge. If we have good schools, if the schools have enough staffs, is the teacher, a teacher alone can be responsible like 10 parents as is in Europe, it will be very easy to monitor.
Okay.
If the schools have cameras, monitors and stuff like that. So I don't want to take a lot of your time because you have a lot to discuss, so I'll leave it at that stage. Yeah, thank you very much, bro. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much,
Mr. Cameroon.
Yes, thank
God
you very
bless you all. Stay safe, please. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. That's Mr. Godlove from Estonia and one of our regular participants. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Javis, and thank you for Mr. Godlove from Estonia for calling. I think we're taking it step by step, and unfortunately, time has really cut us short because I was going to talk about the part of the government, which is the policy. And once the policies don't work, nothing can work. Once there are enough workable policies that stems from the top to the bottom, nothing can work. We therefore, at this point, we want to put it clear that the explicit videos we see circulating, it's a collective effort. We all have a responsibility
out of time,
to play, and we call on the government to go back on the drawing board and look for methods that work, look for policies that work. It is the government that governs the country, and if nothing is working, they are not working. Because if they were working, there should be checks, there should be balances, and there should be controls to bring those who are defaulters to book. Once again, thank you so much for having me, and for all participants, all viewers. It was a pleasure to be on the platform and talk on a very complex topic like this.
Thank you very much. All those of you who took our time to watch us, and thank you very much. Until we meet again, no matter the matter, what matters is your matter. What matters is that you should stay out of trouble, take care of your kids, and make sure that they are controlled. Thank you, future. Thank you to all those who took our time to produce this program. Until we meet again, bye bye. My name is Tah Mai Javis. Come on, Commercial Capital. Thank you, John Banger. Bye bye.